So back in 2013, I did a wonder trade on X and Y, and out of that wonder trade, I got a Shiny Latias, and I've always wondered ever since then if it is a real Shiny Latias or it is a hacked-in Latias. And in today's video, I'm going to set out to prove that and see if it's true or not, and possibly get a real one. So now for the people that don't know what a Shiny Pokemon is, a Shiny Pokemon is basically just a Pokemon with a slightly different colour compared to the normal one. You can find this in the likes of the red Gyarados found in gold and silver, or the black Haxorus in black and white too. And you're probably thinking to yourself, if it's just a slightly different colour, then why does finding this Latias, or even proving that it's not hacked, make such much of a big deal to me? Well, if I never had gotten that Shiny Latias even in the first place, then I would not be where I am in the sense of like compared to the Pokemon. I play in like a draft league, which is called Smells Go for Miles, and without like me even getting that Latias like from that Wonder Trade, I probably wouldn't be influenced as much as how I play, or in generally like how much I actually draft the thing in the actual league. Now what I'm going to do is to get my Latias out of my 3DS, I'm going to use a tool called Checkpoint. Now, there are ways to figure out if a Pokemon is hacked or not hacked by in the game by checking its IVs and checking how many ribbons it has, or if it is maxed out in concert stats. But for me, I'm just going to take the save from my 3DS X and Y game and export it over to my PC, where I can check the stats of the Latias in a tool called PKHex. Now that I have the save on my computer, I can now put it into PKHex and we can take a look at the Latias. PKHex is primarily used by the community for modifying saves and looking at them. So we take it here, and I'll load up, and these are all my Pokemon I caught in X and Y. My Latias is in my party right now, so we'll head over to my party. And there is a check mark next to it, which is very bad. What I mean by the red triangle being very bad is that PKHex is basically telling me that my Latias is not legit, or at least it isn't. Upon checking further, I soon discovered that the PDID is invalid, which the PDID is basically tied to the IV, the nature, and the shininess of the Pokemon. Also, the fact is that if it has an invalid PDID, it basically means is that whoever made the Pokemon did it a bad job. IV, or individual value, is basically a value that is generated whenever you encounter a Pokemon in the wild. So let's say you come across a random Pokemon in the wild, then it'll be randomly assigned these IVs across all its stats, ranging from 0 to 31. Now with IVs out of the way, we can move on to Pokemon Natures. Pokemon Natures are basically determined randomly, same as IVs. They can range from different names like Lonely, Timid, Relax, and these have certain effects on the Pokemon stats. So, I really have only three options. One, I could try and fix the Latias I already have and try and make it legal. Option number two, I could try and catch a real Shiny Latias, and I could be very happy with that. Option number three, do neither of those, just give up and go home. Obviously, I'm going to go for option number two. Now the issue is, where to hunt the Shiny Latias? Because in recent generations, a lot of legendary Pokemon have become Shiny locked, which basically means that you cannot catch a Shiny variant of it no matter what you do. And as well, I don't really know the best proper effective method of what game is the best or what is the best strategy, so I decided to ask in the Pokemon Shiny Discord for help and advice. Upon joining the Discord and asking, I was told my best bet would be Ultra Moon. However, there is one downside to Ultra Moon. I have to play the minigame. What I mean by the minigame exactly is the wormhole mechanic in Ultra Sun and Moon. This can be quite tedious because you have to fly with either Sigaleo or Lunala, and while flying with them you have to pick up these glowing yellow orbs to increase your speed, and then you have to avoid the yellow spiky things that will slow you down if you hit one. Then there are different tiers of wormholes, which are level 1, level 2, level 3 and level 4. And then on top of that, there are different colours of wormholes which will have variants of different legendaries and Pokemon in them. Just to keep it plain and simple, and so we don't get confused, is all we're looking for is a blue wormhole, and it has to be tier 4, as this is where we will find Latias. After spending a while, I managed to find a tier 4 wormhole. It's blue, and it has a Latias in it. Now all I need to do is get the closest I possibly can to encountering the Latias without actually encountering it. This means that I can reset multiple times so I can actually get the Shiny Latias, because if I just watch up and try to encounter it right now, then it's just going to be a normal one. Now some things I want to get into before we try and catch the Shiny Latias. The shiny odds in Ultra Moon is 1 out of 4096. Luckily, I have an item called the Shiny Charm, which will bring down those odds to 1365. That doesn't exactly mean I'm guaranteed to get a Shiny Latias within that number of encounters. That's just saying it's most likely for me to find that within those odds. The method that we're going to be using to get the Shiny Latias is RNG manipulation. Now, I know some people may not like RNG manipulation, and I'm sorry if you don't like it. Let me try and explain to you what RNG manipulation is if you don't know what it is. It's the act of basically where you're manipulating the mathematical formula, or the seed, into the desirable outcome that you want. So let's say I want a Shiny Latias. Well, the Shiny Latias might appear in the next 2 minutes from now, for example. So I can manipulate the game in a way that I will know that there's going to be then a Shiny Latias in 2 minutes from now. Now, to help me out with this process, I'm going to be using PC Calc and 3DS RNG tool. PC Calc will be able to tell me the seed, that's whenever I load up a game, a seed is generated, and what frame I am on, and the ability to pause on frames and unpause at will. 3DS RNG tool will be able to take that seed then and calculate all the encounters that are in the frames ahead. Now, as you'll see in the top right hand corner of the screen, there will be something called the initial seed. The initial seed is what we are going to take, and then we're going to put it into the 3DS RNG tool. We will input this into the seed section in the top right hand corner, and then we'll make sure we have put the category to a whole legendary Pokemon, the Pokemon to Latias, and we have ticked the shiny box, because that is what we're looking for. Then we'll click search. And as you'll see here in the left hand side, there is a bunch of frames, and this is the specific frame that we have to hit. So if I want to get a Latias with these IVs, etc., I have to hit it at that frame then, exactly that frame. If I'm over by, let's say, 1 frame, and it is 793, then I am not going to get that Latias at all. But I don't really care about the IVs or nature, I just want the Latias, so that's what we're going to be prioritising over. And for my first 4 attempts, I really had no idea what I was honestly doing. I would be looking at the 3DS RNG tool, then looking at the frame, then at the frame in my 3DS, and just kind of pushing my joystick forward and hoping for the best. That didn't really work out well for me. In my 5th run, we're going to be trying to aim for 1738 to 1740. Now, my 5th run is where I started to figure out pausing and unpausing, where we press the start and select button, which will pause the game. Then if I press the select button, it will allow me to move some frames forward. And I figured out in a test run prior to this run that my frame delay was roughly 8, or at least I thought. And then I completely overshot this by I couldn't be bothered waiting around pressing select, so I decided to unpause it, and then it just shot right by. My 8th attempt was the best attempt so far that I've gotten. I had to hit the frame of 1392, so what I did was I pressed select and I held my joystick moving forward very slowly. I got the encounter, I just had to hope and pray it was the Shiny Latias. And it wasn't. But what we can do is we can catch this Latias, figure out what frame this Latias was from. So that's what I did. I caught it and I compared it to see which frame it was. And I discovered that I was off by a single frame, which I don't know if that's more annoying or a positive thing. Now onto my 9th attempt. When I inputted the seed into the 3DS RNG tool, I got a really high frame time of 529 to 530. Now, the problem is, as soon as I boot up the game, I pretty much have to press start and select instantly. Else, otherwise, I am just going to overshoot it basically. Luckily, I managed to get it paused straight away, and I start moving slowly up over time, and it finally happens. We'll see, but I don't think I got it. I think I literally was off by like... Yeah, it's because when I need to keep pressing it when it happens. Oh my god! Oh my god! We got it! Let's go! I literally did not think I got it. Oh, that's crazy! I did not think I had that there. Oh, that's mental. I was literally expecting not to get that at all. And then we got it. Bro! And we got the Shiny Latias. Now, all I had to do now was to catch it. Luckily, I had my pal Braylon here, who can help me out with a move called Spore. Spore will put Latias to sleep straight away, which means Braylon won't take any damage, and it will keep Latias alive while I try and catch it. Alongside that, I'm going to be using False Swipe, which False Swipe will always leave 1 HP of the Pokemon, regardless of how much damage I do. So if I'm going to possibly kill Latias in one move, False Swipe's going to leave 1 HP, regardless of what happens. After 3 turns of being asleep, Latias finally decides to wake up and uses Dragon Pulse. But it's just going straight back to bed, thanks to Bladeum. And only after 2 attempts of throwing Dive Balls, I finally get the Latias. Now the final thing that I want to do with the Shiny Latias is to move it over to my Nintendo Switch and use it in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. To do this, I need to use Pokemon Bank and transfer it from Pokemon Bank over to Pokemon Home. So let's get started with that. Luckily, I still have Pokemon Bank still on this 3DS, so I'm still able to transfer stuff from the 3DS to the Switch. Moving stuff from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home is really straightforward. All you need to do is dump the Pokemon into Pokemon Bank, then you hop back out, then you go to move to Pokemon Home, then you input a code in, and then it gets transferred over to Pokemon Home. Really easy and straightforward. Pokemon Home is basically just the same process, but in reverse. I'll skip over this for now, and I will just move Latias straight over from Pokemon Home into Scarlet and Violet, as I want to see how it looks in Scarlet and Violet and compare it to a normal one. Okay, now that I've got the Shiny Latias in Scarlet and Violet, let me move out the rest of my party that I currently have, so we only have the 2 Latiases in them, and then I will throw them outside, and then we can see them in the picnic. This is really cool, because I've actually not seen a Shiny Latias yet in Scarlet and Violet, at all. Oh, that's awesome! Like, that's sick. And now that I've got the Latias and the Scarlet and Violet, that's just finished everything. I just want to thank everybody that's watched this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it and that. I'll link in the description below all the guides and all the gameplay footage that I showed or used by other people. There have been like amazing guides out there that are insanely helpful that I would have not been able to do this if they had explained it like so easily. Yeah, my name's been Teco. I hope you guys all have a great amazing rest of your days and take care.